Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. We're going to be breaking down what occurred today in the S&P futures market. Going to be looking at our weekly right off the bat. Just to break it down, we're going to try to keep today's video short, sweet, simple. So first things first, what do you notice? We've been bouncing off this trend line, this downward trend line since last year. And guess what? Each time we've touched it, we've set a lower low, except for this time when we had the outside week down. We tested it, broke above it, came down and set a lower high, right? So let's keep that in mind. And then we began to we put the market from once we had that outside week down. Once we had the outside week down, we started a one-time frame down on the weekly, and then we put the weekly back into a balance, and then we took the balance high out and began to one time frame up on the weekly. The weekly is still one time framing up, meaning we're taking out previous week's highs, right? So we did that this week. We took out last week's high, but so far it could be a look above and fail. We have one more trading day to go in the week. So if we take out this week's low, or if we take out last week's low, this could also be an outside week down, kind of like here, maybe not to the extreme, but this would be an outside week down, a look above and fell, and then we'd be putting the weekly back into a balance. However, this weekly low is also what I have as my daily balance low, uh, and we are in a 6-day balance low. So let's go ahead and look at our daily balance. Let's go ahead and look at our daily. Now you could have Paul and a few other people in the Discord room and Camelback Trading Discord. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend going and checking them out. It's a great Discord room. Paul Asmar, the leader, owner of the room, has done a wonderful job teaching us and everyone in it uh, better market profile structure and how to read the markets better. If you haven't, go check out his YouTube channel as well. And he gives out 2 free videos every day, one in the morning, giving you kind of a guidance of what he's looking for throughout the day, and then one at the end of the day to recap what happened. So I highly recommend going and checking him out. Uh, anyway, back to the chart. So he was saying yesterday that he was going to call it a 5-day balance and have this yesterday's daily low as our balance low, and then if we took it out, we'd be one time framing down on the daily. Now that's all fine and dandy. You can do that, right? It's an art, not a science, as he says. And you can choose however you want it, how big you want your balance to go. But for me, I think I wanted to include this balance low here because it was the previous week's low, so it has a little bit more of a significance to it. So previous week's low as well. And then once we took that out, I believe we'd be one time framing down with some strength because then we'd be below all 3 of our moving averages here, the 200, the 50, and the 20-day moving average. We'd be below all 3 of those if we took out this 6-day balance low and the weekly low down here at 38.97.25. We take that out, we will go and test this daily low down here at 38.29, and there really isn't much stopping us as far as MGI goes, with as single prints and things of that nature, to hold us up. So that's essentially what is happening. I'm going to say this is a balance. Today, we tested our 6-day balance low, didn't quite get near it. You'll see that in a minute. We opened with a gap to the downside. Another pretty significant thing as we opened with a gap to the downside, and then we tested the 20-day moving average, held it, and closed above it. Now you can use what I'm doing as RTH session 20-day moving average, or if you wanted to be more complicated and complex, oh, never mind, that is full extended hours trading. Excuse me. So 20-day moving average 39.12, held it, stayed above it, didn't find much acceptance below it, didn't test our 6-day balance low. For me, the daily still in a balance. For Paul, the daily is one time framing down. So still balance for me, holding the balance low. We look tomorrow to see if we take it out. Take out that weekly low, which is also the same price, 38.97.25. We do that. We have an outside week down. Weekly goes to balance. All right. Now let's look at what happened on our intraday time frame. So we're going to be looking at our 30-minute chart here. Remember, each 30-minute candle is labeled A through M. That way you can better track what is going on. So let me highlight value area for us real quick. You go in here, highlight value. That way we know what we're talking about. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So now value area, as you can see, is highlighted. Yesterday, we had a massive trend day down, right? Triple distribution, right? Triple distribution. Two sets of single prints, three sets of single prints, excuse me, three sets of single prints, and a price probe. I said the positive thing for sellers, most positive thing for sellers is to see acceptance of price below the price probe at 39.5650. We open up below that. We should have no issue taking out the daily low at 39.43 and filling the rest of the gap that we had, which wasn't very much left in it. We did exactly that because we opened up below both that gap and the price probe with acceptance because we had a gap down, right? Gap down was at 39.23 is where we opened. So about a 20-point gap to the downside. The gap that we were looking to fill automatically fills because of the gap down. I know that sounds complicated, but please stick with me. We have value that is completely lower. So as you can see here, value had been moving higher, moving higher, moving higher. Now value is moving lower, right? So now we have lower value and we opened with a gap. Now what you want to see as a seller is to continue to the downside. You want to see us continue to the downside and go and get this daily low down here at 38.97.25 and get below it. We didn't quite get there, as you can see. Today's low was 39.01. We need to get to 38.97.25. And then we held our gap at K's high, the high of day at 39.40.25. So what occurred? Well, in A period, we attempted to push up and to fill the gap initially. We didn't quite get there, so we rolled over, came back below the opening, attempted to push down. Then in B period, same thing. We pushed up, couldn't take out A's high. We were above the open for a little bit, came back down below the open, took out A's low. So we begin to one time frame down. So now sellers have gap value, one time framing down on their checklist. Then what happens next? We look to see which side of the initial balance we take out. So remember, the initial balance is the first two time frames of the days, high and low. So A period's high, B period's low. That's what we're looking to take out. We take out the initial balance low in C period. So now sellers have that in their corner. So they have value, gap, one time framing down, and the initial balance low to the downside, as well as the overnight low. Because if I were to include the full session, I don't know why it's not allowing me to show full session, but if I were to show you the full session, you'd be able to see we had our overnight low as well. So sellers had a lot of things in their corner. We attempted to go trend in C period by holding single prints and getting down to this daily low. We didn't quite get there. As you can see, we pushed back up in D period, filled that set of single prints. However, we did have a poor low or a poor high against C's high, meaning demand shut off there. There was enough supply at 39.20 for us to push back down near the low. Then in E period, we attempted to push lower again, tried to go trend, couldn't quite get there, and we came back in. Now, once we did that, and you've seen that we couldn't really do anything, we really weren't going trend. Tempo was low here. Volume was low. You knew something was starting to change. All right. You knew if we took out E period's high, then you would rotate back up into A's range and potentially back up to where half back was. Also, point of control at the time was right here at C and D's high. Remember, point of control is just an area where price moves back and forth through that time frame. See where that, or through the price. So point of control initially was at 39.20 because we had 3 time frames or 4 time frames that have gone through that price. Well, once we popped E's high, it was a good opportunity for you to get long, to go back to the upside and get 5 wide now, get 5 time frames to go through that price at 39.20. We didn't quite get there, fell short in F period. We pushed back down. And then in G period, we couldn't take out F's low. So guess what? Showing bids are starting to hit the market. Shorts are starting to get out of their positions. And then you finally, in H period, pop, get some squeeze of the shorts out. Momentum buyers step into the market, and then guess what? We take out the initial balance high. All right. So 12 trading days so far this year. We've opened with 7 of the days, we've opened with gaps to either the upside or to the downside. And then 4 out of these 12 trading days, we've taken out both the initial balance low. So that means we take out the initial balance low, and then we've also taken out the initial balance high. The market is extremely volatile. It's been that's how it's just absolutely wild. Algorithms, short-term traders move this market like it is absolutely nothing, which is impressive to see and very intriguing for somebody who is of my caliber, right? So we're squeezing shorts out. They begin to panic in H period once we take out F's high, right? Because you had a bunch of stops set there, meaning A, there are either people selling at this point and hoping for us to go and make a new low on the day. And those people that were selling there, once it popped that stop area at 39.20, they began to cover, providing bids, and momentum buyers began to push this thing up above the opening. Then in I period, we kind of opened and pushed directly up. Once we took out H's high, more stops got taken out, and then we started gunning it for the day's high as momentum buyers started to step in, thinking we were going to go fill this gap. And then we had a couple laggard traders step into the market in JK in an L period, thinking we were going to go fill this gap up here at 39.43. And as momentum started to slow down and short covering bids began to leave the market, guess what? M period absolutely tears everyone apart, pulls back heavy. Okay, so that's what occurred today. We hold a gap. We only go out with today's high and today's low, taking out both the initial balance low and the initial balance high, and people getting left all over the place. So, how did I do? I did well. I traded pretty well on the day. Uh, I got chopped up in E period because I got excited as I was coming into the market, expecting us to go and make new lows, and then eventually get down to this 38.97 area. So I initially had taken a long against the day's low and against C period. Once we took out C's low, I got stopped out and took a loss on that trade. Then I decided to get short on a push back up against C period's low. So I took a short at 39.03. Could have made a little bit of money on the push back down, but I was looking to target this 38.97 area. That's where I would have gotten out of my trade. However, we pushed back in. I get stopped out of my trade. And then now I've taken 2 losses on the day, and I'm kind of mentally frustrated because I knew that I should have waited to see what kind of what we wanted to do until the next time frame. However, I did uh, take the opportunity in F period once we took out E's high to get long. I got long in F period. Uh, Not a big size, but enough to get me out of the mud and positive on the day. We push up, had a really good trade, and then I decided to take a short in F period against C and D's high to rotate back down uh, near the lows, and then I got paid pretty good on the pushback down because I had my stops ready to get taken out at 39.20. If we had taken that out, I would have gotten out of the trade. However, uh, whenever we started to come back in, I peeled off my position for a pretty good gain. Then I got long in G period. Now this one's a little bit different. Why did I get long in G period? Well, we had just stopped the one-time framing down in F period, okay? And then at the time, we also were looking at our 144. So the 144 is on my 1 minute. It's a simple moving average on my 1 minute chart. We're on the 144. Oh, just occurred. Sorry about that, guys. Where are we at? So here, right in this range, where we had just gotten above the 144 and we stopped one time framing down. So in G period here, I decided to get long. I got long around 13 because we were above the 144 moving average. I decided to get long 13, thinking we had a good opportunity to push up and take out C, D, and F periods highs. So I got long there and then began to accumulate size as we ran or chopped around the 144. I had my stop below F periods low down here at 39.07. So as we began to pull back, each time we pulled back, I added a contract. So I eventually got up to a 6 lot position, which is a large size for me. Got up to a 6 lot and then started holding it. Average price was around 39.11. And then once we started to push up here in G period and then in H period, when we decided to pop, I got out of my position for a really good gain. Sold most of my position at 39.19 and then got out on the pushback above half back at 39.21. So really good trade there. Then I decided to take another pretty decent sized position. Another thing to note about that trade is we were also above VWAP or above VWAP, or no, not above, we were below VWAP, excuse me. This is where I got in that trade. We were holding the 9 EMA and I was expecting us to pop that stop run and get above VWAP where I was looking to distribute my accumulated position. So took a long later in the day as we began to one time frame up. I'm looking at the wrong thing. As we began to one time frame up, I love how I said I was going to keep this video short and then it turns into a 20-minute video. I love it. Anyway, I took the long here in J period, okay? Um, I got long, I'm trying to remember where I got long exactly. I believe after J period had pulled back and we began to push back up towards the day's high, I got long right around 33, 34. Pretty good size. And then in K period, I added to my position size around 32. So I was long about another 6 or 7 lot here near the highs of the day, wanting to pop up and go fill this gap. Well, once we popped up to 38 and 40, we took out K's high. Because my average price was around 32, 33. I gotten out of most of my position and then all of my position once we hit 40. So thankfully I got out of my position pretty quick because I had sell orders ready to go. So once price hit that area, I got out of my position for a really nice gain. I closed out the day up about 700-800 bucks on the day. Really good trading day for me. But glad I got out because we began to pull back and failed to fill the gap. So let's go ahead and mark our destinations, go over some if-then statements. Thanks for all of those that do stick around and watch until the end. Hopefully one day I've figure out a way to make a better video structure that is shorter, but I just have so much to explain. Okay, so we got our high day here at one. Let's say it's the 19th. Here our high day at 40.25. Okay. Then we have our low day at 01.75. That was perfect. Wow. I rarely do that. Okay, low day. So that's all we go out with is today's low and today's high, which is also where the gap starts. So we have a gap start here. So today was a very choppy and confusing day. If we open up in today's range tomorrow, you look to potentially push lower because we have been so far, value's been moving lower. So if we open up in today's range tomorrow, you look for us to take out, if you're a seller, you want to look for us to take out the low day at 39.0175, continue to taking out previous day's lows, moving value lower, and then get below 38.9725, which would put the weekly into a balance. And then for me, it would mean the daily would be one time framing down. Now, however, if we open up inside of yesterday's range or today's range, and we cannot take out the low of day, then you'll look to take out today's high and fill the gap. After you fill the gap, you'll look to push up into the price probe at 39.56 and then get into this lower distribution and begin to trade in this lower distribution and potentially take back some of this trend day. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. We need to see what happens tomorrow. Uh, that's all I've got for you guys. However, if we do take out these two lows, we don't have anything until the set of single prints at 38.8550 and 38.75 where they fill. So stick around. Maybe we'll take out the weekly low, put the weekly back into a balance, and go trend down into this day from the 6th. That's all, folks. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for sticking around. If you do enjoy the content, please leave a like. Leave a comment below if there's anything I could explain better or somehow shorten this bad boy. Let me know. Catch you guys in the future. See ya.